Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, in today's video, let's talk about the weapons problem inside of the first Descendant. So let's get right on into it. Now, when it comes to weapons or gunning in this game, there's basically only two gun Descendants in the game. Number one being Serena, and number two being Gley. Now, I can hear you homies in the back saying, Enzo is a gun Descendant? He is. I agree. Is he a relevant gun Descendant? Unless they give him a very, very hard rework and basically the capability to keep up with Gley and keep up with Serena tier of damage? Not really. He's not going to be as relevant, is the main thing I'm trying to say. Same for Nell. Nell does have a gunning platform, but her weak point buff is just irrelevant when you look at how broken her skill setup is compared to everything else. And to any donkey that for some reason seems to think that Haley is still a gunning Descendant, you're on copium. They threw that and flushed that personality and any hope of gunning down the toilet when they just made Haley a worse version of Bunny. So that's kind of out of the window. Now, when it comes to actual gunning, it's basically just Gley or Serena, right? So what is the actual gunning problem? It's kind of the loop that they've locked themselves into. When it comes to Gley or gameplay with Gley, you're essentially forced into using the restored relic as a number one weapon to allow you to mob. Her infinite loop allows this to be fully, fully loopable, fully viable. Then the dagger for bossing or for deleting single targets is the best. The Deus for deleting like Axiom bosses or higher level bosses for newer content. And if you're not using that, then what are your other options with Gley? Malevolent's a decent weapon. Other than that, you basically have got the Blue Beetle for weak point bossing. And for Gley, that's pretty much it. Now, when I say that's pretty much it, Python for Massacre as well. Again, that's it. With Gley, she has a unique ability that makes her really good and viable with like everything, because infinite ammo is forever going to be a relevant mechanic and a good mechanic, right? Now, Serena. What does Serena have? Serena has a platforming and skill setup that is just unfathomable. I don't know why anyone would introduce this type of a character in a game, especially given what Serena has. Ability 1 is round recovery, so recover ammo, strip mobs of fire resistance, heal allies, all in the same ability. Ability 2, fly, and increase your multi-hit chance, your multi-hit damage, crit MP recovery, so on and so forth. And comes at the cost of making your grapple cooldown slower. It's fine. Her third ability, instant dash in any direction, infinite ammo reload, and you hold it for further dashing. Fourth ability, a 312 times multiplier to just everything you do with your guns, and all of this in unison on the same character. Insane damage increase, perfect reloading, mental loop, great MP recovery, ammo recovery, and a passive ability that allows her to take less damage whilst airborne, as well as increase her own damage by 45% with explosives, and also have 30% less reduction, is a very, very, very capable kit. Now, Serena is a gun Descendant, right? And we've gone over this. When it comes to gunning, you basically have to remember this is the baseline. No matter what you do to Haley, she will never, ever, ever match up to Serena gunning-wise. The same is going to be done to Gley, by the way. At some point, the developers are going to have to rework Gley, and when it does come to reworking her, she's going to have to take the same sad route that Haley has essentially taken with the slop bunny route. And what that is you give them a new red module, they get a speed buff up to 1440, an AoE ability that allows you to nuke mobs, and a fourth ability or a final ability that allows you to do a mini nuke, and basically, yeah, the slop bunny setup is what I'm going to call it. Now, when you have this, or when you're faced with this, what are your options? cap the one character that is basically destroying scaling when it comes to every other character, or leave that character alone and make the game rise to it. Next on chores make the game rise to it. So now let's talk about the weapons. When we talk about scaling up Descendant abilities, they've done their fair share of buffs. The reactors have had one buff. They used to be specific for specific weapon mountings, up to weapon type mounting, up to no mounting, into upgradable colors on your substats. Same for substats on your comps, upgradable colors on there, and added cores up to them, which is 6 power increases. Inversions make that 7. The arcade tree make this 8. The mutant cells make this 9. And they buff the numbers on all of these as well, which makes that 10 power-up systems, technically. Then let's talk about the Descendants again. Trigger mods as well makes that 11. Ancestor mods makes that 12. Weapon cores up to level 7 makes that 13. And weapon cores up to level 10 makes that 14 power-up scaling systems. Why am I talking about every single one of them, including weapon ones? It comes into subject later. Now, this game has only been out for just over a year, and they are basically forcing the game to progress when it's not ready to progress because of how hard Serena creeped everything. With the weapons, like I said, you're locked into basically a few options with Gley, and no matter what you do with these, it's essentially just going to loop you back into the same conundrum. You cannot make these weapons any better because it makes Serena better. Now, how can we adjust that? If you were to cap Serena's ability with the specific weapon typing, for example, like with handguns, she can only do like 150% scaling, then that would mean handguns ain't as strong on her. Same for this, and so on. Maybe adding synchronization values, something similar to the Ancestor mods, might be worthwhile doing as well. And making some weapons stronger with Serena, some weapons weaker on Serena, so on and so forth. Now, I say that because the developers bizarrely seem to believe there's balance in this game. I'd love for them to point me in the direction of said balance, but if you've played this game for more than 20 minutes, you'll know that there is like no balance at all. So what do they always end up doing? They buffed the Descendants up, then they buffed the weapons up, then they buffed the Descendants, and then weapons, and now Descendants, and then Descendants again. So inevitably weapons will be needing a buff again. But they can't buff weapons because of the Serena problem. And they fully know Serena is a massive problem, and instead of addressing this, they kind of just laugh about it on their developer streams, and I don't know whether that's the right thing. You can laugh about it, but like, if you don't address it, it's just going to become an even bigger problem going further down the road. Now, with weapons, right, based off what they can do and the fact that they've added cores to weapons, they did mention in the past that they wanted to add arcade trees to weapons, or they wanted to expand these tuning connection points, and I don't know, maybe this will link to your 3 weapons on your inventory and will allow you to upgrade trees for your weapons, right? If they were to allow that into the game, right, that means trees for the weapons, which will then be followed by trigger mods for the weapons, and also ancestor mods for the weapons. 3 more scale up systems. Now, with the amount of insane buffs you could get, hell, even just from triggers, imagine ancestors. Based off what we kind of have over here, especially with like crit ancestor mod on here is capable of replacing all 4 crit mods. Imagine you get something on the weapons which is equivalent of all 3 crit weapons, and would also go even more ballistic and, you know, give you like 25 times more damage. But you've got to realize that this affects everyone. No matter which Descendant you pick, you are forced to essentially pick a weapon to pair up with it, whether it's statistic purposes or whether it's whatever purposes. You will end up choosing a weapon, and you're kind of locked into stat stick or nothing. Swords and stuff like that have kind of basically been following a trend, or weapons have been following a trend. Now let me have a look at the weapons in release order based off memory, so it's definitely not it's definitely up for debate as to the order that I got this in, and I might have gotten some weapons wrong, so forgive me. The Thunderqueef, or the Hive Master I should call it, because some people don't realize it's called the Thunderqueef. Hive Master, absolutely a horrible weapon. The Hypernova, this was okay, not bad. The Shadow and the Deus were shit, and they've been buffed, and now they are only the Deus is usable on the end boss. The Shadow still remains in the trash. Exterminator, only good with Gley because of the infinite ammo. Eraser, good with Gley, only because the infinite ammo. Ancient Knight, only good with Serena because of her setup. Atam's only good with nuking setups with like Haley crit buff for the weapon, or Sharon, or Serena, of course. So on and so forth. Truly Deadly Arsehole, that shit's dead. That's like in the truly deadliest arsehole of hell. The Malevolent, the last good weapon that got released into the game. This weapon was trash. This weapon was shit, and it became okay, and people are using it again now because of how hard they buffed Haley. But that's a Descendant fixing a weapon-ish problem, so not really. Peacemaker is okay, not bad as a stat stick. Even when they did end up buffing all the weapons in the game, every weapon in the game became usable at its best. But remembering that their baseline is the last dagger, I don't know what the hell they can do to weapons to make them as good as the dagger. Even if they give the tree or give ancestors, it'd follow a similar trend, and the dagger is their baseline, remember. And Voltia was okay with Gley, or with the spray and pray setup, or the infinite ammo setup for 1 second. This is not bad. Excava is okay. Sigvor's Proof is so long gone and so dead that people probably don't even know it by name. There you go. It's cooked. Now, a lot of these weapons become very good when you end up using the infinite ammo for X amount of seconds setup on it. Like the dagger becomes good for other characters like that, or spray and pray for the Greg, or you know, whatever it is for the beam rifle weapons and stuff like that. But the weapons are stuck in a stalemate right now that I think is really difficult for the developers to navigate out of. When you've got basically no gun descendants left in the game, because let's be real, they're not releasing a gun descendant. Literally the last time they did that, they released Serena, and she's still fucking the game up 8-9 months later, and the developers have tried. How many times have they tried nerfing Serena? They stopped multi-circulation scaling working with Serena. They had removed the inversion focus rounds to counter damage as well. They've fucking toned her down literally in the numbers. They've tried so hard to make attempts on Serena just for it to basically be useless, because she's still so far ahead, and you can't really put people on an equal baseline. For gunning, Gley will never turn into Serena, and because of that, Gley has no option but the slop bunny route. Even with Ajax, I'm gonna kind of call this one here based off an assumption I have, or a feeling. With Ajax, they will give him a new red module which allows him to run at 1440 speed and a mob like bunny, or have an AoE mobbing skill along with a little bit of a nuke skill. If Ajax gets that, it's gonna be so cooked, because that's not Ajax, bro. He's a slow ass tank / support setup character that, you know, that should not be how he works. And I think that character identity is important in this game, and Haley has the character identity of a popsicle that's just melted and turned into quite literally nothing. And a lot of characters are going down the everything is just turning into a mess, and they don't know how to fix it. And I think it's something that they've definitely dug themselves into. They really should have adjusted Serena as soon as they saw what she was capable of. It's not pleasant, but this is the reality of it. Make changes or do something about it at this point. Otherwise, going forward, even I can't tell you what the fuck to do, because I can't make straight of this type of a mess either. And I know a lot of people is probably thinking, oh, you're complaining about everything just because, you know, you'd never stop complaining and you're annoying and shit. I complain because I care about the game, and if the game keeps going the way it does, this game genuinely might not have a future, which is something sad. This game has the potential to probably become one of the best games of all time, but it's definitely not going to happen at this rate, and it definitely will not happen with the developers that we currently have if this is what they are going to be doing going forward. But yeah, that's my take on the weapons problem. You basically get looped into everything is trash because they're too afraid to do something about Serena. Every Descendant suffers from it, and yeah, I think I covered everything. I probably missed something, but it's fine. I'll leave a pinned comment if I did. I hope you have enjoyed, guys. If you did, please just smash that like button and let me know what you think, because topic videos, we all discuss stuff and all of that, yada yada yada. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.